ExamPrep.School, Maryland Casualty Insurance Producer Exam, Exam Code 20-26. There are 4 practice exams in this series. This video covers Practice Exam 1. The first 20 questions are free. In this video, we will be covering the following major categories for Practice Exam 1. Auto insurance, business owner's policy, casualty insurance basics, commercial package policy, general insurance, homeowner's policy, insurance regulation, other coverages and options, workers' compensation insurance. Let's walk through the format. I'll read each question and its choices. Let's get started. Question 1. In Maryland, which individual is eligible to apply for a resident insurance producer license? A 17-year-old applicant with parental consent and completion of pre-licensing education. B. An 18-year-old applicant who passes the required examination and resides in the state. C. A 19-year-old applicant who holds a valid producer license in another state. D. A 17-year-old applicant who has passed the examination but lacks Maryland residency. A countdown circle appears in the top right. Once it completes, the answer is revealed. You can pause at any time if you'd like longer to think. If you'd like additional practice covering more topics, see the description for our book. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is based on Maryland law requiring resident producers to be at least 18 years old, pass the exam, and maintain state residency. Reason A is not correct. Applicants must be 18 or older. Parental consent does not override age requirements. Reason C is not correct. Holding a license in another state does not satisfy the Maryland residency requirement. Reason D is not correct. Residency in Maryland is required regardless of exam completion. Question 2. Under reciprocity, a non-resident producer may be licensed in Maryland if which condition is met? A. The applicant maintains a principal place of business in Maryland. B. The applicant holds a resident license in their home state with requirements at least as stringent as Maryland's. C. The applicant passes only the state law portion of the Maryland licensing exam. D. The applicant has been actively licensed in any state for at least 2 years. The correct answer is B. The correct answer reflects Maryland's reciprocity rule requiring a home state license with standards equal to or exceeding Maryland's. Reason A is not correct. A principal place of business in Maryland is not required under reciprocity provisions. Reason C is not correct. Reciprocity waives both portions of the exam, not only the general portion. Reason D is not correct. Duration of licensure alone does not satisfy reciprocity without equivalent home state standards. Question 3. When applying for an insurance producer license in Maryland, which must be disclosed on the application? A. Any criminal convictions except minor traffic violations within the past 7 years. B. Participation in credit counseling within the last 5 years. C. Civil judgments related to professional malpractice regardless of age. D. Bankruptcy filings discharged more than 10 years ago. The correct answer is A. Maryland requires disclosure of criminal convictions within 7 years, excluding only minor traffic offenses. Reason B is not correct. Participation in credit counseling is not a required disclosure item. Reason C is not correct. Only recent criminal convictions, not all civil judgments, must be disclosed. Reason D is not correct. Bankruptcy older than 10 years is outside the required disclosure period. Question 4. A Maryland resident producer license authorizes the licensee to transact business within which scope? A. Any line of insurance the licensee qualifies for. A. B. Specific lines of authority indicated on the license document. C. All personal lines products regardless of what is listed. D. Lines pre-approved by the commissioner without listing requirements. The correct answer is B. Maryland law restricts licensees to the exact lines of authority printed on their license. Reason A is not correct. Licensees cannot transact all lines without specific designation on the license. Reason C is not correct. Personal lines are not automatically covered without being listed. Reason D is not correct. The Commissioner does not grant unspecified authority without listing lines. Question 5. In Maryland, a temporary producer license may be issued under which circumstance? A. To an applicant awaiting examination results for up to 90 days. B. When a licensed producer dies, becomes disabled, or enters active military service. C. To a non-resident producer moving to Maryland awaiting reciprocity for 180 days. D. To a producer whose renewal has elapsed while completing continuing education. The correct answer is B. Maryland permits temporary licenses only when a producer dies, is disabled, or enters active military service. Reason A is not correct. Awaiting exam results does not qualify for a temporary license. Reason C is not correct. Non-resident reciprocity waiting does not justify a temporary license. Reason D is not correct. Late renewals during continuing education completion do not permit temporary licensing. Question 6. How often must a Maryland resident insurance producer renew their license? And what is the penalty for late renewal within 30 days? A. Biennially, $60 late fee if renewed within 30-day grace period. B. Annually 10% surcharge on renewal fee within 30 days. C. Biennially, $120 late fee regardless of timing. D. Triennially automatic suspension after 15 days. The correct answer is A. Producers renew every 2 years in Maryland with a $60 late fee if submitted within 30 days. Reason B is not correct. Renewal is biennial, not annual, and no percentage surcharge applies. Reason C is not correct. The late fee is $60, not $120 when filed within 30 days. Reason D is not correct. Licenses renew every 2 years, not 3, and suspension is after longer delinquency. Question 7. How many continuing education hours must a Maryland life and health producer complete every renewal cycle? A. 12 hours. B. 15 hours. C. 20 hours. D. 24 hours. The correct answer is B. Maryland requires life and health producers to complete 15 hours of continuing education per renewal cycle. Reason A is not correct. The requirement exceeds 12 hours for life and health producers. Reason C is not correct. 20 hours is above the mandated number for this license type. Reason D is not correct. 24 hours is required only for certain other lines, not life and health. Question 8. Of the total continuing education hours required for Maryland insurance producers, how many must be in ethics training? A. 3 hours. B. 2 hours. C. 1 hour. D. 5 hours. The correct answer is A. Maryland mandates that 3 of the total continuing education hours be dedicated to ethics. Reason B is not correct. 2 hours fall short of the mandated ethics hours. Reason C is not correct. Only 1 hour is insufficient to meet the ethics requirement. Reason D is not correct. 5 hours exceed the specific ethics requirement. Question 9. Which is required of a continuing education provider approved by the Maryland Insurance Administration? A. Submit course materials to the Commissioner quarterly. B. Maintain student attendance records for 3 years. C. Provide free CE seminars twice a year. D. Renew provider status every year regardless of offerings. The correct answer is B. Approved providers must retain attendance records for at least 3 years for audit purposes. Reason A is not correct. Quarterly submission of materials is not mandated. Reason C is not correct. Free seminars are not a required obligation. Reason D is not correct. Provider status renewal aligns with the licensee renewal cycle, not annually regardless of offerings. Question 10. Who is primarily responsible for reporting continuing education completions to the Maryland Insurance Administration? A. The licensee within 15 days of course completion. B. Approved continuing education providers within 30 days. C. The licensee's employing insurer at renewal. D. A state-appointed education auditor biannually. The correct answer is B. Providers are required to report CE completion records electronically to the state within 30 days. Reason A is not correct. Licensees do not submit completion data. Providers do. Reason C is not correct. Employing insurers are not tasked with reporting CE completions. Reason D is not correct. There is no biannual state auditor reporting requirement. Question 11. Which misrepresentation on an application may lead to denial of an insurance producer license in Maryland? A. Omitting a minor traffic violation older than 2 years. B. Falsely stating a felony conviction on the application. C. Neglecting to list non-insurance business affiliations. D. Filing the application after a temporary license expires. The correct answer is B. False statements about felonies are material misrepresentations that can result in license denial. Reason A is not correct. Minor traffic violations older than 2 years need not be disclosed. Reason C is not correct. Non-insurance affiliations are not required disclosures. Reason D is not correct. Late applications incur fees but do not automatically cause denial. Question 12. During a routine audit, a Maryland insurance producer knowingly submitted falsified continuing education certificates to the Commissioner's office. Under Maryland insurance regulations, which action is most likely to be taken against the producer's license? A. Suspend the license until the valid CE documentation is submitted. B. Revoke the license. C. Assess a monetary fine without affecting the license. D. Issue a formal reprimand without further penalty. The correct answer is B. The Commissioner revokes a license when a producer commits fraud in CE submissions to protect public interest and maintain professional standards. Reason A is not correct. License suspension addresses procedural lapses, not intentional fraud submissions. Reason C is not correct. Assessing a fine alone would not address the severity of fraudulent conduct. Reason D is not correct. A reprimand is insufficient for deliberate falsification of regulatory documents. Question 13. A Maryland insurance producer allowed his license to lapse 18 months ago by failing to pay renewal fees and complete required continuing education hours. Which combination of actions must he take before his license can be reinstated? A. Pay the late renewal fee and complete any past due CE credits within 60 days. B. Submit a new license application, retake the licensing examination, pay all required fees, and satisfy outstanding CE requirements. C. Complete current year CE requirements and pay delinquency penalties without retaking the exam. D. Reapply through appointment by an insurer and fulfill the standard sales requirement. The correct answer is B. Because the license lapsed over 12 months ago, the producer must apply anew, pass the exam, remit all licensing fees, and fulfill any CE deficiencies. Reason A is not correct. Completing CE within 60 days is insufficient because a lapse over 12 months triggers new application and exam requirements. Reason C is not correct. Retaking the exam is required for lapsed licenses beyond a specified period, not just CE completion and fees. Reason D is not correct. Reappointment by an insurer does not override the statutory requirement for new application and examination. Question 14. After a Maryland insurance producer finalizes her first insurance sale on behalf of a carrier, within what time frame must the carrier file the producer's appointment with the Maryland Insurance Commissioner? A. Before the end of the producer's licensing renewal period. B. Within 30 days of the producer's initial licensing date. C. Immediately upon appointment approval. D. Within 15 days of the producer's first transaction. The correct answer is D. Maryland statutes require insurers to submit appointment notifications within 15 days of a producer's first insurance transaction. Reason A is not correct. Appointment filings are not linked to renewal periods but to the date of first transaction. Reason B is not correct. Appointment deadlines are tied to first transaction, not licensing anniversary dates. Reason C is not correct. The requirement does not mandate immediate filing upon approval of appointment. Question 15. An insurer decides to terminate a Maryland producer's appointment for underperformance. According to state regulations, by what deadline must the insurer notify the Maryland Insurance Commissioner of the termination? A. Within 10 days after notifying the producer. B. At least 15 days before the effective date of termination. C. Within 30 days after the effective date of termination. D. Only during the insurer's annual appointment reconciliation. The correct answer is C. Maryland law requires insurers to file termination notices with the commissioner within 30 days following the effective termination date. Reason A is not correct. There is no 10-day post-notification filing window specified by Maryland regulations. Reason B is not correct. Advance notice to the commissioner is not required under these termination rules. Reason D is not correct. Termination notices must be filed immediately after termination, not only during annual reconciliations. Question 16. Which of the following actions is the Maryland Insurance Administration authorized to perform? A. Invest state pension assets. B. Adjudicate civil insurance fraud. C. Regulate securities sales. D. Approve insurer policy forms. The correct answer is D. This option is correct because under state law, the administration reviews and approves policy forms before insurers may market them in Maryland. Reason A is not correct. The administration does not manage or invest state pension funds. Reason B is not correct. Civil fraud cases are handled by the courts rather than being adjudicated by the administration. Reason C is not correct. Regulation of securities is the responsibility of federal and state securities commissions, not the Insurance Administration. Question 17. Under Maryland law, which power is granted to the Insurance Commissioner regarding insurance regulations? A. Promulgate regulations interpreting insurance statutes. B. Enact legislation governing insurers. C. Issue executive orders binding insurers. D. Veto insurance bills enacted by the legislature. The correct answer is A. This option is correct because the commissioner has authority to adopt rules and regulations to interpret and implement the state's insurance statutes. Reason B is not correct. Enacting laws is the role of the state legislature, not the commissioner. Reason C is not correct. Executive orders are issued by the governor, not the insurance commissioner. Reason D is not correct. The governor holds veto power over legislation, not the insurance commissioner. Question 18. Which of the following activities falls within the scope of a Maryland Insurance Administration market conduct examination of an insurer? A. Evaluating insurer claims handling practices. B. Assessing investment strategy performance. C. Auditing insurer tax filings. D. Reviewing insurer reinsurance treaties. The correct answer is A. This option is correct because market conduct examinations focus on underwriting, rating, marketing, and claims handling practices, not financial audits or investments. Reason B is not correct. Investment strategies are evaluated in financial solvency exams, not market conduct exams. Reason C is not correct. Tax filings are overseen by the state comptroller rather than the insurance administration. Reason D is not correct. Reinsurance treaties are part of financial condition reviews, not market conduct scope. Question 19. When the Maryland Insurance Administration receives a consumer complaint against an insurer, what is the first action it typically takes? A. Schedule an arbitration hearing. B. Forward the complaint to the state attorney general. C. Order immediate corrective action by the insurer. D. Send an acknowledgement to the complainant and request insurer response. The correct answer is D. This option is correct because the administration's intake process begins with acknowledging a complaint and seeking the insurer's response for further review. Reason A is not correct. Arbitration is not used by the administration as an initial step in complaint handling. Reason B is not correct. Complaints are handled internally rather than being sent to the Attorney General. Reason C is not correct. Corrective actions are ordered only after investigation, not upon initial receipt. Question 20. If an insurer disagrees with an administrative penalty imposed by the commissioner in Maryland, which entity conducts the formal hearing? A. Maryland Supreme Court. B. Office of Insurance Hearings within the administration. C. Office of Administrative Hearings. D. Maryland Court of Special Appeals. The correct answer is C. This option is correct because Maryland uses its Office of Administrative Hearings to conduct contested case hearings involving insurance disputes. Reason A is not correct. The Supreme Court reviews appeals, not initial contested case hearings. Reason B is not correct. There is no separate Office of Insurance Hearings within the administration. Reason D is not correct. The Court of Special Appeals handles appeal reviews, not initial hearings. Enjoyed this practice test? Tap like, hit subscribe, and share it with a classmate. Got a question we should tweak? Comment below, we read them all. Find full practice exam books in the description or at ExamPrep.School.